name is Sarah, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Fast. Jacob, what's up?
Sarah?
Oh, what's up at the same time? We'll never get this dance perfect. It's going to be ridiculous. What are you eating or drinking this week?
This is big. I'm going to talk about Calgary in a bit, but this is a big thing. And I actually did not know until this past weekend that there's a debate between was this created in Calgary or was it created in Victoria?
I think Victoria. Well, the people in. Okay, tell the people what it is.
So it's called a shaft, and there's a little bit of debate of what goes into it, but it's essentially a cocktail. It's similar to an espresso martini, but but it's not really. So it's vodka, coffee liqueur, Irish cream or milk, and then some kind of espresso, cold brew, iced coffee, that kind of thing. You mix it all up, and that's your shaft. I had it at a wedding. It was a Calgary wedding, like at midnight or something like that. They broke out shafts for everyone in little cans, pre-mixed ones. They're not my favorite thing, but they were okay.
I really liked it when I was there because it just tasted like iced coffee with liquor in it.
Yeah, it's not bad. And like you're supposed to shoot it though. So
I know
these
you're
ones
supposed
were
to
in
like
little
chug
cans,
it.
and people were like kind of shotgunning these cans.
Okay, so when I went to Calgary for a wedding 2 years ago, I was with my friend from Victoria.
Yeah.
And shafts were on the menu. He goes, "Oh, we have to get shafts and chug them."
They all say this. Yeah, you got to get one.
But he was like, "Did you?" And he kept going off about how it's a Victoria thing that Calgary tries to claim as their own.
Right.
And so it's like this big debate. So the person I know claimed that it was a Victoria thing. That's how I learned about it. So and also we'd had shafts. Jordan had made us shafts before, like because it was a Victoria
And we had
thing.
people at this wedding on both sides, people from BC. So if you're in the comments, toss in the comments whether it's a BC or a Alberta thing, because I need to know. Yeah. What about you? What are you eating or drinking this week?
Just like classic, one of the best meals of my life. I went to Prime Seafood Palace again. I went about a year and a half ago, and like my one birthday request was I wanted to go back.
It's like the Maddie Matheson spot.
Just as good as last time. It is so worth the money. I would pay double. It's
what do you
so
do? Do you get a bunch of stuff?
Yeah, and just share it.
Yeah.
First course was lobster spaghetti. These clams with this like bread, but the bread was like an English muffin, so you kind of make like
smaller
an open face
plates,
sandwich.
or like are you feasting here?
Mid-sized plate.
Okay.
Like it's like I was stuffed at the end.
Yeah.
We also got like the 20-ounce steak to split between the two of us, and then we had the béarnaise sauce and then the potatoes there to die for.
This was your birthday dinner, right?
This
Happy
was my
birthday.
Thank you. This was, I mean, like who knows when this is going out?
Yeah,
so this is
probably. However, you were celebrating that.
I was celebrating that, and it was just like everything there is so, and also the people there are just like the kindest people on the planet. Like they are
service,
so
if
cool.
You're gonna, especially if you're gonna pay a good amount and like
it's
get
so important.
Food that's well made. The service can make or break.
I actually think, and that's 2 times we've been there. We've sat at the bar both times. We were in the same spot as last time, and both times we've been like raved about our server. Like they're so cool. Like even like. Okay, so there was like all this like sauce left over from the lobster spaghetti and from the clams. And I'm a big like dipping bread and sauce girl. And like he walks over my server and he goes, "How is it?" I go, "Oh my God, like the sauce is so good though. I just want to like lick the plate." Or like if I had bread and he goes, "I got you." And he goes and have them make me a little Yorkshire pudding without the stuff in it. And just like brings me the bread so that I literally felt like I was in the Bear when I would get the special Richie treatment. Like that's literally how I felt. And I felt so important because they brought me the bread so that I could like finish off all the sauces.
Oh, that's nice.
It was so kind.
That makes a huge difference.
Like little things like that. Anyways, it was delicious.
If you were
so
gonna recommend
good.
like one thing off the menu,
oh my
what would you
God.
get?
Well, the menu changes quite a bit.
Oh, okay, does it?
Okay, the Palace bacon is so good. I had that both times, and the potatoes are so good. But any of this warm seafood is unbelievable. So like the clams, and we had shrimp, like all of it.
And I've never been, but it looks from photos.
It's beautiful.
Looks
you would love it.
There.
Oh my God, it's just beautiful wood.
Yeah,
that'd be like you love architecture. Like,
I gotta go.
There's an Architectural Digest thing on it.
I know it's like Omar Gandhi actually. I think who also designed the East End brunch spot, Lady Marmalade.
Yeah,
very
it's so
I'm pretty
good.
sure. What are you watching or reading this week?
I can't believe it took me this long to watch this movie because it's 2 very attractive men who I now have a crush on both of them. Red, White, and Royal Blue.
What is this? I've never heard about
so
this.
Red, White, it's based off a book. My friend had lent me the book one time, and then I just never read it. But it's a romance about these 2 boys, they're like in their early 20s, where one is the president of the United States' son, and then it's the prince of like England. Okay. And then they like hate each other. It's a haters to lovers story, and they end up falling in love.
Is it recent?
Like the movie only came out a year ago on Amazon, movie version of it, but the book's been out forever. And it was so stinking adorable. And Taylor, I don't remember his last name, and my guy Nicholas Galtzine, like literally, like they're both both so handsome and charming, and I gushed the entire movie. It was so good. So watch Red, White, and Royal Blue if you haven't, because I don't know. I don't think it's hyped up enough. I really enjoy it. I also didn't read the book though, so if like the book is better, probably. But the movie was
Add it
fantastic.
to your summer reading list. You need one more book on there, probably.
Yeah, I already have like 15. What about you? What are you watching?
Well, speaking of things that are underrated, I think I threw back. I didn't realize that this came out in 2018, but I was like, this is worth a rewatch with Haley last night. We watched Ocean's 8, which is like
Eight. I was like, which? Because you just wrote Ocean, so I was like, which one did you watch?
Well, this is the thing. It's just like it's Ocean's 8. The original one is Ocean's 11. Presumably, there would be 9 and 10.
No, there's 12 and 13 though.
No, I know that, but I'm saying this came out 5 years ago. Let's bring the ladies back.
It's already been 5 years.
I know. Let's bring it back. Apparently, there was a prequel in the mix with like Margot Robbie and Ryan Reynolds. Actually, it's kind of in development. Maybe that was a rumor last year.
I love all of the Ocean's movies. I love an ensemble cast.
Well, 100%. And this is why I'm like, can we not get the ladies back for Oceans 9 and 10, because that cast was stacked. It was Rihanna, Minnie Kaling,
Awkwafina's in it too.
Yes, right? it was good.
Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett,
and holds up. It was good.
And
you love a good
Sarah
like little
Paulson.
heist.
Oh my god,
yeah,
that's like a crazy
cast.
It's a crazy cast,
and it's good. Who doesn't love a heist movie? And Anne Hathaway. Hello.
That's one of those movies that I watch on TikTok on the regular. You know, like when people do like all the parts. Ocean's 8 for some reason is always in like 30 parts on TikTok.
I was also watching Imitation Game on TikTok last night, which is a long movie.
That's a long movie to watch on TikTok. That's a long one. What are you listening to right now?
Okay, I always pronounce her name wrong, and I'm not 100% sure, so I apologize in advance. I've heard it as Charlotte Cardin and Charlotte Cardin. I think it's just if you're French or not pronouncing it.
I think it's if you are Quebecois or not.
Yeah, so I've seen her a few different times. One of my most favorite times, I actually met her at one of the shows that she was opening for Bourne's back in the day. It was one of the only shows that I've gone to when I didn't really know the opener. I didn't really know her. I maybe knew of one song, and I was there to see this artist.
Wait,
Bourne's.
you normally know the opener when you go to shows?
Yeah, a good amount of time.
Oh wow,
yeah,
I feel like
a lot of people tour together at like smaller club shows.
Okay,
they kind of know, they're similar-ish acts. But this one, she was like a wild card for me at this show. Mm-hmm. And I went, and I was excited to see Bourne's. And by the end of the show, I was like, she was actually so far beyond the headliner. Yeah. So good. And then she came out. She was so nice selling her merch. I don't think she does that anymore because she's gotten a whole
she's
lot
too
bigger.
famous, I think.
But she was super sweet, super nice, and just one of the most amazing singers that I would say the world has. Not just Canada. But anyway, she dropped a surprise EP semi-recently called A Week in Nashville. 3 songs only. It's about kind of like long-distance relationships.
Oh, interesting.
Is she still in love? Is she going to break up with her partner? Who knows? I think she was in is in a 7-year long-distance relationship.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, 3 songs. It's tough to have a cohesive EP with 3 songs. This is one of the best EPs I've heard in a long time, and her voice is amazing. So I would definitely recommend checking this out.
I love that.
I had a good time listening to it. What about you? What are you listening to this week?
So I'm sure it's going to happen with our next guest that's on the pod today as well, Jamie Fine, coming up after the break. I have this really bad tendency, I've talked about this before, where we're so lucky to have like these incredible artists come on this show, but I don't become obsessed with them until after they're gone. It's almost like I know who they are, or I get like a little taste of their music, whatever, and then I get to know them as people,
you get
and then
a
I
little
become
background of the music,
and then let me know if
more.
anyone that like listens to the podcast has done this, but I get like more invested after getting like hang with them, and then I don't stop listening. Like Virginia to Vegas is going to be my number 2 most artist this year after Taylor Swift.
Shout out Derek,
like if you still listen to this podcast, like straight up, I need you to drop that summer music you told us because
I'm waiting for it. I know
this is why I've been listening to a lot of Virginia to Vegas, because his music, as we talked about in this podcast, is peak Toronto summer.
Yeah,
it is peak Toronto summer. I'm like listening to oh my god, there's just like I listen to everything because it's like all like upbeat, like why don't we go like I can't stop, it's all in my head 24/7. So anyways, I'm listening to a lot of Virginia to Vegas because it's peak summertime music. It should be half of your playlist. for.
I know,
like,
and I'm waiting for the new tracks to add them to it and follow up on our conversation. Go back and listen to that episode, which was last season on Talking Fast.
It was one of the last episodes
We
of
were like
season
having a
2.
bromance over chairs. We have sent a few chair DMs back and
Oh my
forth
God.
since.
Wow.
So
It's gotten intimate.
it's blossoming.
But yeah, I'm fully obsessed, and we'll have to have Derek back once he releases new music.
We should also put together a podcast, I think, we should also put together a playlist of
all the people
Talking
we've
Fast
had?
artists. I feel like we have enough now, especially with Jamie
we
Fine
do.
coming up, that we could really do a comprehensive
and
breakdown.
it'll be an interesting mix because we've got a lot of pop. We've got like
A little country in
Preston,
there.
We've got some country.
Yeah, it would
I
be good.
love that
It'd be
idea.
good.
Okay, we'll make that by the time this comes out.
Sarah, somewhere you went this week.
I went somewhere on the highway that should have taken me 15 to 20 minutes, and what was going to be a 40-minute journey, like there and back, turned into 2.5 hours of my Saturday morning.
Construction season.
And also, okay, this is the issue. I'm such a hypocrite. I'm such a hypocrite. I was so angry. It was because there was a 10K happening on Saturday morning.
Were you signed up for the 10K?
No, I wasn't running it, but I was like, we only have a couple lanes on the Gardner.
It's true.
And maybe we find other places to run than the Lakeshore. Just maybe. And look, I will vouch for even maybe Sporty Life, the ones I've ran. Maybe we don't run along the Lakeshore. Maybe we turn left instead of right, and we go out
to the East End. Yeah.
Go to the East End. But for real,
there are places we could do it. We could do it on Lakeshore in the East End, down Lakeshore. No one.
We don't
really
even need to
down
go.
there.
We can loop
do it
around
on
other
Tommy Thompson
streets.
Park. We could do it on the island. We could do it in Hyde Park, like the spring.
We could just do laps around Trillium Park. There's so many things that we could do that when we already are struggling with the lanes of traffic on the Gardner, like shutting down the Lakeshore is like deadly. It took me like almost 3 hours to get home, and this was on a Saturday morning, and it took me an hour and 15 minutes to get from Dundas West to City Place.
Did you see that?
It literally was showing if I had have walked, it would have been half the time.
Did you see that the Indy 88 guys, Brent and Carlin, put up only 3 more years of this sign on the...
Yeah, I saw that.
It's still there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it the other day, and I was like, yeah. Okay.
I just, look, I'm not normally someone that bitches about Toronto traffic because, like, I love this city and I, like, really don't try to, like, rag on it too much. But it's been a struggle right now. It's tough. And, like, and look, in most situations, would I take the TTC or would I walk? That's what I do 99% of the time. I had to pick up a bunch of balloons and all this other stuff in Etobicoke. Like, I had to. There was no other option. So, anyways, where did I go? I went really nowhere, but random side streets and roads to try and get through the traffic.
It does hurt my heart sometimes when you see the estimated time of arrival and you could run there faster.
Or walk.
Or walk there.
I was sitting on Bathurst Street being like, if I didn't have this like really heavy cake in my arms right now, I'd be walking. I'd be like...
Izzy actually said just at the beginning of this episode, she was like, I actually got out of my Uber coming to record right now to walk faster to get here.
Because, oh my God, I know. I just can't with the traffic. What about you? Where somewhere you went? You already teased it.
I went to Calgary. Yeah, I was talking about Shafts earlier on the episode, but I went to Calgary for a wedding with Haley.
Had you been to Calgary before?
Yeah,
with
a few
Haley
times. So I went
times?
last September, and I'd been a couple of times for like a night twice before that.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really experienced it until last fall. Experienced it again a little bit for 4 days this time. It primarily was out there for a wedding, but also got in some good meals.
Calgary's got a good food scene.
Bars. Yeah, I was actually surprised because I use this app called Belly, which if you don't use it, use it. It's great actually for just like categorizing, ranking your own restaurants. I use it for recommendations as well. I rated it high. I think like top 15 for me.
Whoa.
10-foot Henry, very good. Talking about medium-sized-ish plates. Went with Haley's parents, so there are 4 of us. Ordered a bunch of stuff. Ordered a bottle of wine. Just having a good time. Speaking of service, service was really, really good. I'd recommend it. It's every time I go. I would say maybe 5-6 years ago, I'd be a Calgary hater.
But I like Calgary.
I can admit that times have changed. And I'm actually a fan now.
I think it's actually a really cool city. Both times I've been, I've had a great time in there. And I've like, food's really good. I had this unreal pizza the one time I was there. I do not remember what the place was called.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life.
Shout out Calgary.
Like shout out Calgary. Maybe make it a little stop. Then you can go to the mountains. You could do a little drive out to Banff.
100%.
Shout out Calgary. It's worth it. And also there's always cheap flights from Toronto to Calgary. They always have little like deals and round trip flights.
Don't book late though.
Otherwise you can't. So maybe, exactly. Plan a little further in advance.
Sarah, what's something you did this week?
Well, this is where I feel bad when we record so far in advance. But like, I mean, people that watch the vlogs, I guess, get the first tips. But I hosted a party. I hosted my birthday party.
Yes.
I've been hosting a lot of birthdays out the last few years, like at bars or at whatever. This was my first time having like a house party vibe in a long time, and I loved it. We just used my condo party room.
Did you stay in the whole night?
Yeah, we just went upstairs and finished night, ordered pizza, played Quiplash. Like, so like we just moved it upstairs after, and I loved it. We just like played drinking games and stuff, which like we don't normally do anymore. Like we don't pre to go out places now. So it's just like, it was really fun. And I love like a birthday party or any of those excuses to bring together different people in your life. So like I had work friends there. I had like friends from Run Club, like all these like different parts of your life coming and interacting together. I love that. It's like so funny for me to watch. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And
the cake looked amazing.
It was unreal. Shout out Butter and Spice Bake Shop in Toronto. Like
go watch the vlog, look at the Instagram post. This was a nice cake.
And also like literally it was, I don't even like cake, and it was delicious. Oof. Like, and also it was like not frozen, but like she must have like just put it in the freezer. I don't know how cake works, but
like,
it's
to set
but
the
they had to set it, and I had to like bring
it
out. It never melted. Like it was some high quality cake, and it's her bake shop is located in Death in Venice, the gelato shop on Dundas West. And so but she's fantastic. I highly recommend.
For sure.
Yeah, so we were mutuals on TikTok forever, and I didn't know she made those types of cakes, but Naomi actually used her for her birthday, and she was like, you have to use her, she's the best. And so then I like messaged the week before, which normally these types of cakes you need to like message for. But like luckily
give her a little bit of lead time.
It was amazing, and it was so delicious. I just sent her a photo on Pinterest, like something like this. Then we never talked again, and it was the Pinterest.
You got
photo
to respect the art of a
crazy
baker, right?
It was crazy. The piping. I'm just like looking. I'm like, I could not do any of this. I could not. I couldn't even bake cupcakes. So I was so
to detail and it tastes good. You're like
unbelievable. That's how you know like someone's so talented. So it was so much fun. And maybe it's gonna turn me into cake. Who knows? Big. What did you do this week?
Sarah, speaking about timing, it's time to kick off my marathon training plan for New York City.
No cake for you.
No cake for me. I've retired from recreational soccer, and I'm kicking off my training plan. It's going to be 17 weeks long.
Is that long or short for marathon training?
16 is pretty normal.
Oh, okay.
You could go 18. You could do 20 if you want, but I feel like I got a decent enough little base right now but I'm starting slow. And I'm prioritizing a little bit of rest off the beginning to not injure myself. So knock on wood. Nothing bad happens.
So are you going to be like running to Run Club now? Like you'll be doing like the first part of it?
Highly
probably.
Likely. Yeah. Especially as the mileage comes up, because we start off pretty easy, not taking it too crazy, where the long run's going to be like 12K or something like that the first week. Yeah. And then as we move up, those middle of the week runs, I'm going to be needing like, 14K here.
Yeah.
So we're running to Run Club. There. Speaking of, shout out to Talking Fast, Running Faster. We're probably
bringing it back
shortly. Yeah, when this is coming out, it'll be back in a couple of weeks likely, so keep the eye on the Instagram and come run with us.
And especially like root on Jacob, you can say you're part of Jacob's marathon training journey.
Well, it is good training time for anyone. So if you're training for like the Toronto half marathon, come out.
There's also like the Michelob 10K is a thing that a lot of people are training for, the Michelob Ultra one and stuff like that. It's great. It's just more fun to run with other people. I'm so excited to have fellow Vanderpump Rules superfan Jamie Fine here on the podcast. Unfortunately, Jacob, you're going to be irrelevant here because we're just going to break down all of the new season.
That's okay. I'll try to catch up as I can.
You try to catch up.
Nod your head and smile.
Yeah. Exactly. But in all seriousness, thank you so much for coming on Talking Fast today. We're so thrilled to have you. I'm so excited for your new EP that's dropping in like when this is being recorded, days.
Yeah.
A couple days. Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. It's pretty overwhelming. Like it's tough, like juggling, promoting, and talking about it, and it's such an like emotional project for me. So like it's emotional talking about it, but then we do like fun things, literally like this, that I'm like, oh, and then so it kind of pulls me in all directions, but like in a really positive way, I think. So I'm excited.
Is it like? So, I mean, I watched the full TikTok journey of Bulletproof. Like when that, like literally I just when I hear that song, I picture you like sitting on the floor of the airport. Like just because I saw that
Which
video.
People don't believe is an airport. I don't know how to tell them.
It very much looks like an airport.
Yeah. You see those floors is obviously not an airport.
Classic
I'm like, all right,
airport.
Steve, do whatever you want. Like,
you also sit in an airport and alarm me when at times that it's obvious it's an airport. But it did like when like that song was dropped, is it like similar feelings to that? Like that feeling of like excitement, like a little bit of nerves, like you're giving up something. I know a lot of artists talk about like once they've written a song, it's for them, but then when they put it out in the world, it's for everybody else. Like do you go through that whole process?
Yeah, I think Bulletproof was a whole other level of like emotion, because it was very like I wrote that song very selfishly, right? And I needed to, because it was for me and my family, and I knew that other people could relate to it. I think it's the same thing for this EP, where I wrote this EP very selfishly. Like usually I think about a project and I'm like, okay, top to bottom, this is what it's going to look like. This EP was very selfish in terms of like piecing it together for the first time in my life. And so, you know, when artists will release a project and they're like, okay, guys, I spent so long on the track listing, like listen to it top to bottom. It's in order for a reason, blah, blah. I'm telling everybody, be as selfish with this project as I was writing it, where on any given day, whatever emotion you feel, I want you to pick the song from the project that fits. And for like, there's really happy things. There's things that talk about mental health. There's a song that talks about mental health that's sad. And then there's a song that talks about mental health that's completely jokes. And then there's songs about family and love and blah, blah. So be selfish with it if you need.
I like that it can flip on both sides sometimes for a track, because I know that there's one, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it hasn't been released yet. But you referred to it as a heartbreak banger, which I think is something that like is always hits on an album, but it's kind of a little bit of a dichotomy, because you have it's a banger that you just want to like be excited about, and, like, listen to all the time, play in the car, but it's also a little sad.
Yeah, it's it's like you can feel something with it, right? But it's like, you know, when you're like in that phase of a breakup or like a heartbreak, even if it's with family or whoever it is, and you're like, you're sick of being sad about it. Like you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of myself. Yeah. And that's the day that you want to scream a song. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's so true.
Like where you want to scream in the car, and those emotions are still valid, but it's just coming out in a different way. Instead of tears, it's coming out like.
And that's what this song, Give Me One More Night, that you're talking about is. And that's the lead single off the EP for that reason, where it encompasses what the EP is. I have some like pop punk records on there that are fun, and then I have the emotional ones like Bulletproof that are really sad. And Give Me One More Night is kind of this, it like encompasses everything that this EP is.
How many tracks are we talking about here?
I think 9. Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah, 9. Katie, let's go, baby. 9.
That's a lot for an EP.
That's so
like, I was going to say.
Yeah, it is basically an album. The thing is that a lot of songs are already out, right?
Yeah,
so there's 3 new songs that you're getting, but if anything's left is going on the EP. All the songs
that's
that
good that you can
year.
Be selfish about it, and that I love that you're saying to your audience to go and be selfish about it, because then if you have 9 songs, you can kind of run the gamut and have any emotion that you're feeling. And also I always mention on this podcast, because I have Jacob's Songs of the Summer. So I'm looking for the next summer banger as well to slide into the playlist
end up
which is why I brought up the heartbreak banger.
There's like the Spotify like top hits one, and then Jacob's Songs of Summer. It's right there,
neck and neck. Let's go, baby.
And maybe Give Me One More Night might be the one for me, because I'm looking for a heartbreak banger to fill in some of the gaps in the playlist.
Maybe I'll convince you by the end of this podcast.
I'm so fascinated because I know like with musicians, like big thing is collaboration. But you have a kind of like 900,000 collaborators on TikTok, 300,000 on Instagram. Like that's a different type of collaboration that I think is only now being like respected in the way that it should be probably. What's that process been like Bulletproof, like we talked about earlier as an example, these songs where like you tease it and then suddenly you have almost 1 million people so invested in that journey with it as well that are also like helping you create the art. Like what's been that been like for you? Like it's like you're with your fans creating it from the start.
Yeah, it's a shift, right? Like it's new for artists. I also like I've been doing this for 6-7 years, and so me coming up as an artist initially, it's a very different climate. I think it's something to adjust to. It's also something I've always wanted. Like the people one way or another have always dictated what's good and what's not good. We're just getting more of that because social media is so like prominent in everything. But when you look at music, you look at businesses, like people are deciding what spa to go to because one spa over here is making great content, or what pizza place to go to because you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, it's about being as authentic as I can with including them in that journey from the beginning so that they feel part of it, because they're going to be part of the aftermath. They might as well be part of, you know what I mean, the process of creating it.
And that, like, what's been the biggest change? Because you said you've been doing this for like 6-7 years. Like, so obviously, like social media being so prominent, but is it because like instead of chasing singles, you can just like create like your own selfish project and like the fans are part of it? Like, what's the biggest difference that you would say from then when you started and when you were creating versus now?
I think it's there's good things and there's bad things,
of course,
right? As with everything. I would say the biggest difference is that. I don't mean this as negatively as it sounds. It's less about the music and more about how you promote it. Who can you get music to, right?
Of course.
And so I think for me, the struggle that I've had, candidly, is that I consider myself a very well-rounded artist, right? I love performing and I can perform. I can sing live. I love writing my music and being part of that. And then being a recording artist and then promoting it. I'm like, to me, I'm like, okay, I think that I'm an artist.
Yeah.
We're now entering a world, and for the last few years, we've entered this world of like people who are like online artists, right? Who aren't necessarily as well-rounded. And what's tough is that there's only so many spots, and there's only so many playlists, and there's only so many radio spots, and this and that and the other, that inevitably you have to kind of like weed out where people fit. And finding my place now versus before has been very, very challenging for me.
Yeah, I bet.
It's just a different world. Like music has changed in such beautiful ways, and ways that like I'm like, oh, do I have to suck this up, or is it going to change back?
I will say though, like as an outside perspective, you do it like I like my creator hat on, like the creator stuff so naturally, because like we see like, I mean, as like just a consumer and like a lover of music and live shows and everything, we see the people that are clearly being forced to do this. And we've talked about like with other artists and stuff. Like Sophia Kamara is a great example, someone that's also very natural at doing it. And like you guys are very similar in the sense that you can naturally promote your music and have that creator style community. But I can understand why it's also like, okay, but it is about the music. And then I'm sure you probably battle with like then people also see you as like a creator or TikTok artist first, when it's like, no, you've been here.
Oh my God, dude. I God, I can't believe I'm telling this story online right here. But okay, so I got asked to do this cashmere commercial thing, and I was like, oh yeah. Oh yes, I'm doing this, because they were gonna let me do a video that I wanted to do, and it was like funny, and I was whatever.
For sure.
And it went viral. Like, yes, they put AdSense into it, but it went viral on its own. And people would come up to me on the street and be like, "You were in that cashmere commercial." I was like, I worked so hard for my music, and I'm known for toilet paper. It was bullshit. But yeah,
like I also was probably on your radio this morning.
Yeah, exactly. But sick, Jess. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's great.
But that's like the balance. It's like, I'm sure it's like they want you to be the well-rounded, like be able to be a creator as well, and having that brain on, but then also you need to like focus on the art and let it speak for itself.
Which like I didn't, candidly, I didn't sign up to be a content creator, right? I never wanted to be a content creator, and it's hard work. My girlfriend is a content creator, and I'm like, you work your ass off, dude. I don't want to. I don't want to do this.
You're like, I work my ass off writing and performing and doing all that, and then also then you have to inherently do that to be like connected and do. I don't.
It's hard.
I don't envy you for that.
On the flip side, it probably does give you access, just social media in general, to other people, maybe collaborators creatively. I know you also threw on your summer bucket list shooting your shot with Renee Rapp for a possible collaboration. Has the DM slide happened? And if not yet, who else have you maybe connected with on social media for collaboration?
Yeah, honestly, I would. Don't ever test me like that. I'm getting closer and closer. Okay. I know some people, and that's also why we're in LA and like we're, I have not done the DM slide. I'm very choosy with the DM slides.
Okay.
Because
I respect that.
I think that there's this fine line between like a respected colleague and a fangirl. And I'm not a fan. Like I'm very like anticlimactic when it comes to like fangirling over people. I don't know why. But I don't want to slide in her DMs and be like, oh my God, would love to work with you, in case she's one of those like, this is unprofessional.
Yeah, no, you want it to go through the proper like channel.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because it's like sometimes the DM side works, but you're right. It's like a weird thing to come off across of being like, you don't know who I am, but I like. That's
it's a fine line, and some people don't care, and I don't. There's people who slid in my DMs, and I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to do this.
So we just, in the break that we just took, talked a little bit about tour life. You just got back from South Africa where you had a hot bodyguard. And we were just talking about how on TikTok, when you look up that video, it actually just says Jamie Fine hot bodyguard. Like people are trying to find this man on TikTok. Since
I can make him famous in 5 seconds.
1,000,000%. Yeah. But you said that tour like kind of like took it out of you. Like it was exhausting. Like how long were you there? Tell me about it, because it sounds like an amazing experience, but obviously still an exhausting one.
It is. It's both. I am a bad tourer.
How so?
My mental health. Yeah. I just like I rely really heavily on my family and friends. I rely really heavily on like my safe space. Yeah. I travel obviously so much, but like I'm the kind of person that like if I have to do a red eye so that I can get to my bed, I'm doing a red eye to get to my bed. And so South Africa was 2 weeks. It was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. There were so many things that happened that like unfortunately, I think I couldn't really enjoy as much of it as I would have hoped. Yeah. But getting on stage and seeing the people there, it's everything that I've been looking to achieve in my career, and I have it there, and I connect so well with those just people, and it was really beautiful.
Do you write on the road at all, or is it kind of you go and you're touring and you're performing and then collecting experiences and then taking them home to write?
I have to separate it.
Yeah?
I can't write on tour. Okay. I'm sure there's been like a time where I've written like a melody. I have like my voice notes on my phone are stupid because I have so many melodies. But I have to separate it or else I get too overwhelmed. I have to like go into tour mode, writing mode, promoting mode, like it's all different caps for me.
But that makes sense. Like if you just said like you're well rounded with all of it, I feel like decompartmentalizing them is the only way that you could do that, because otherwise it's like blurred lines. My brain wouldn't be able to do that.
I think that helps too. One thing that I connected with, I can't remember how recently you had posted it, but I think you were sitting in your car and you're talking about anxiety, going back to social media for a little bit, because I think one thing that does make, say, you stand out from other artists too, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this, is like from a social media promotion perspective, sometimes you have the artists that are like, oh, my new single is dropping this, and it's all very like banner ad style, as opposed to tying into your actual emotions and kind of showing your real life. Is that something that has always been important to you, and how you maybe connect with your fans?
I think that's why my fans connect to me, candidly. I think when I was asked the other day, who are your fans? And I was like, whoa, I don't know. And then I thought about it, and I thought about the interaction, and it's people who are very emotionally vulnerable and people who are typically pretty intrinsic and want to figure out how they feel on any given day and any given emotion. And so on social media, I think that's, I've always said that, we show the good. Everyone's so great at showing the good, and then you have a tough day and people stay off social media. But and I think that that's healthy for most people. And listen, the 99% of my bad days, I stay off social media and I take a day. But that 1%, I think I do have a platform, and being able to talk about my mental health and being able to talk about the hard days makes somebody feel a little less lonely. And that's the whole point, quite literally, of what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I try to find a healthy balance on there.
Have you always been that way? Like even before becoming like Jamie Fine, the artist that's like known, have you always been like such an open book and vulnerable?
Yeah, I'm annoying. I'm really annoying.
Not annoying.
No, you're just hang out with me a little longer. No, it can be pretty overwhelming. I was always that kid. Like I was very emotional. It got me in a lot of trouble, I guess, when I was a kid. I like knowing how I feel. I also like knowing how other people feel. Like I think that walking in a room and reading it is really important, and recognizing the people that you're inviting in your space, like what they need as well. Like I think we owe that to people, and vice versa. And so yeah, I think it's something that's come very naturally to me, which is why the music that I write, looking actually directly at like the lyrics or the genre, the feeling that it, emotes from it. I don't know if emote is a word. I feel like that's in Fortnite.
Emote's a word.
Okay, amazing. I feel like I'm playing Fortnite.
At least, yeah.
It works. That feeling that I want to give to people, it comes from like an authentic place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going back to the EP that did having songs that kind of run the gamut, is that an intentional move to kind of have something that plays on different emotions that people can connect with then?
Yeah, I want it to be I'm not linear. I always describe it. I'm not linear, and I'm pretty much not linear on any given day. It's not just a week of emotion. I'll wake up super happy, and by 1 p.m. I'm like, well, today's done, and I'm done.
But that's like literally like being like an authentic human. Like that's like how that was like me today as an example. I was in a pissed off mood all day, and then my vibe changed. I'm in a great mood now. It just happens.
It's not linear.
So I need a Jamie Fine song that can go from when I'm in my sad girl, I turned 28 yesterday, I'm crying about it, to then when I'm like happy and like just kidding, like I can take on the world. And I think that's like more human than trying to make art fit into a box of a certain track list or any of that. Have you felt pressure to do that type of stuff in the past? Is it like a point in your career that you feel like you have the space to be able to be selfish in your music, as you said?
I have a really beautiful team.
Yeah.
It's really rare for people to say that they have a great label, and the people that I work with at the label are really beautiful. And everybody on my team, from management to the people I play with on stage, know that I'm me, and you won't succeed very heavily in changing who I am. And they've been so supportive of the way that I want to do things and what I want to achieve. And so, no, I've never felt pressure. The only time I felt pressure is in an old project I used to work with, and leaving that project was like the hardest thing in the world, getting back to being authentically me. And now I finally get to be that. And everyone around me is like, yeah, because it works, right? Yeah. When the most authentic of artists, it works. And for anybody else, you can get as many followers as you'd like and as many streams as you'd like, but how is it translating? Who are you picking up along the way? And exactly. How, the come up really matters. And for me, I think that's the thing I've been focusing on the most.
I love that. What era of your life are you in right now?
Oh my God, I love that. Vanderpump. I'm in my Stassi era.
Oh my God, I love that.
I know.
Because my follow-up question was going to be, if any Vanderpump Rules star could come to one of your shows, who would it be?
Stassi.
100%
Stassi.
Stassi always.
Yeah. Or like Tom, so that I can be like, you suck.
Oh my God. Okay, so now I'm going to pitch you a dream of mine that I will fly out to LA for.
Okay.
You need to like make Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras like open up for you, but like satirically.
You're dark. I love it.
So funny.
How would that even look like?
Then the type of people that would come to that show, I think would actually like really vibe with your music, but they're
100%.
there to make fun of him. That's a new demographic.
Sorry, I'm actually firing my manager. Both of them, and you guys are it. So yeah, that's incredible. You know what? I'm telling you this. I'm saying this out loud. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I'm trying to get in touch with James Kennedy because I want to write top lines for him for his music. Oh my
God, you should. He's playing at what's the bar that's on the Toronto Harbourfront that I would never go to? Cabana.
Yep,
He's
playing
Cabana
really?
soon.
Yeah, and I know like a lot of people that know him, and like it's so intertwines.
It's gonna happen.
You 1,000,000%. Oh my
Put
God, you and DJ James Kennedy.
Can you imagine me and James Kennedy on stage? It's not about the pasta.
I would be front row.
You don't get that at all.
You don't
It sounds good. It sounds good. I'm in.
Okay, now like I don't know if anyone in this ether who would listen to this could make that happen, but we need to make that happen.
Please.
We need to. A Jamie Fine, James Kennedy. Oh my God.
So gangster.
JFXJK. Like there's so. Oh my God. There's so
Whoa,
much
that
there.
sounds good off the tip of the tongue.
Do you see why management? You know what I mean? Are we picking up what I'm laying down?
Shout out Ali and Shelly. I'm taking their jobs. Yeah. Ali's gonna be like, cut the camera.
Exactly.
Sorry guys. Oh my God, that's so fun. Okay, so now after we've manifested that, what is next for you after the EP drops? Like, what's this next year gonna look like? I guess we're halfway through the year, so next 6 months. I know it's so sad.
I know it's dark. I feel like it was just New Year's.
No, for real.
I think I'm a very like day by day kind of gal. I think I need to do that.
Yeah,
one of the special things about this project is that it made me really excited about the album. And this is an EP technically, and next step I think inevitably in my career is whether that's taking a step back for a little bit and working on it or staying prominent and working on it, I don't know, but I know exactly what the album is going to look like. I know the title. I know the songs that I want to write.
Drop us
Well, it's
anything.
going to have a James Kennedy feature on it. We
Exactly.
obviously
Random, but I'm kind of into it.
No, it's not though. It's like just random enough that it would make sense. You go to See You Next Tuesday enough times while you're hanging out in LA. If it's around the corner from you, you can make it work.
And then can there be like a cashmere brand deal as
That's-
well? Like
Throwing
mixed in the
That's a DM slide that
You get the
could do.
the hot bodyguard in there as well.
Oh my God.
Can we at
For
least
the
get
music
just-
video?
I was gonna say, can you just write a
yeah.
music video for you?
Literally, this is my new team. Everyone else is
After we
gone.
just blushed about how great you're.
Literally.
Oh my God, that's so exciting. Like
Yeah.
you're so like sure of it. You know exactly what you want to do.
Directionally, I just like, I think it's because my music, I correlate so much to what I'm going through in life. And so I think that the natural trajectory is like, because I know what's happening in my life right now, and I feel ungrounded because like of being in LA and this and that and the other, but I feel so grounded in terms of like who I am and what I want, that I think next year, the next 6 months is so clear to me, and I'm like narrow visioned in like the healthiest of ways.
That's the best feeling though. It's the best.
Not
Okay,
hearing.
well, we are narrow visioned on June 21st, if this is it, EP, 9 songs dropping. What do you say to the people that are on the fence of listening to it? Give them like a sales pitch, 1-line sentence. You're in promoter mode right now. What do they have to do to listen to it? Why should they listen to it?
I'll give you free cashmere toilet paper if you listen to it.
You know what? I'm in.
That was incredible.
soft.
That's a great way to end the podcast. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Talking Fast. I've been Sarah. That's been Jacob. That's been Jamie. Make sure you listen every single Wednesday where we drop new episodes. We'll see you next week.
Love y'all.
Bye.